Imagine this. You are running a bustling neighborhood store. It's a Saturday afternoon. The line is practically out the door. People have their wallets out. And then,
Oh no, I know where this is going.
right, without any warning at all, the internet drops, the Wi-Fi router just gives up.
A total nightmare.
Exactly. Your card readers go dark, your digital cash register freezes, and you're just staring at a crowd of very impatient people.
Yeah, that is the worst feeling in retail.
Or, on the flip side, imagine you're a new business owner and a delivery truck just dropped off 10,000 new products.
There's a mountain of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, a mountain of boxes. And you're staring at them, realizing you have to manually type the details of every single barcode into a computer before you can even, make a single sale.
Hundreds of hours of just typing.
So how do everyday businesses survive these logistical nightmares without massive multi-million-dollar enterprise budgets?
That is the big question.
It is. And the answer is actually a radical shift in how we think about the humble cash register. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the architecture of a platform called Posible.
Possible, yeah.
Right. To see how this concept of a retail OS is just fundamentally rewriting the rules for small businesses globally.
It's a profound shift, really, because what we're really examining here is the saucification of the mom-and-pop shop.
Saucification, software as a service.
Exactly. I mean, for decades, the defining advantage of mega corporations, like Walmart or Amazon, was their technological moat.
Right, the stuff you couldn't see.
Exactly. They had these massive data centers managing their inventory in real time, automated marketing, frictionless checkouts.
Stuff a local corner store just couldn't compete with.
Not a chance. But the documentation for Posible, which is an India-based platform marketing itself as an all-in-one enterprise point-of-sale system, it shows this aggressive attempt to compress that entire technological moat.
Compress it how?
By turning it into a highly accessible cloud-based operating system that anyone can use.
But capturing that enterprise magic for a small shop immediately runs into a massive physical roadblock. Which brings us right back to that Saturday afternoon nightmare.
The Wi-Fi dropping.
Right. A fancy retail system is worse than useless if it shuts down the second your local internet provider has a hiccup.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's start with Posible's core infrastructure. They heavily emphasize this always-on capability. Like, they claim the platform can process bills entirely offline with zero downtime.
Yeah, that's a huge claim.
So how are they actually pulling that off without just reverting to, a localized 1990s desktop software?
Well, to understand how they do it, you have to look at the historical trade-off businesses have always had to make.
Okay.
Traditionally, you chose between a localized desktop ERP, that's enterprise resource planning software, or a cloud system.
Right, the old school way.
Yeah, the localized ERP lives entirely on the hard drive of the computer sitting in the physical store. It's sturdy, it works without the internet, but it's completely isolated.
So if the hard drive crashes...
Or the store catches fire, yeah. Your business data is just gone forever.
It's basically the digital equivalent of keeping all your revenue stuffed under the mattress. Safe from the bank failing, but highly vulnerable to a local disaster.
Precisely. Now, the alternative was a purely cloud-based system. All your data lives on remote servers.
Which is safer.
Incredibly secure, backed up in triplicate, accessible from anywhere.
But the internet cable gets cut.
Exactly. The second a construction worker accidentally cuts the fiber optic cable down the street, your cloud-based cash register becomes a very expensive, totally useless paperweight.
Right. So where does Posible fit in?
Posible's architecture attempts to bridge this by using an asynchronous hybrid model.
Asynchronous hybrid model. Break that down for us. What is actually happening inside the hardware when the internet drops?
So the software operates with a localized caching database. When you have an internet connection, it behaves like a standard cloud application.
Okay. Talking to the servers.
Yes. But it's also constantly downloading and maintaining a lightweight, up-to-the-second snapshot of your entire inventory and pricing structure locally.
Oh, so it saves it right to the device's RAM or the solid-state drive.
Exactly. So when the internet connection severs, the system doesn't freeze looking for a server response. It instantly defaults to reading from that local snapshot.
Wow, so you don't even notice.
You can keep scanning barcodes, generating bills, and opening the cash drawer.
Okay, so the system is recording those offline sales locally, but here is the massive edge case that immediately comes to mind.
The inventory sync.
Yes, because Possible heavily promotes their unified inventory sync. They claim to connect the physical store directly to a built-in own domain e-commerce store.
They do, yeah.
So let's play this out. Let's say my store's internet goes down at 1:15 p.m.
Yeah.
At 1:15 p.m., I sell my very last physical red T-shirt to a customer standing in my store. But because my system is offline, it can't tell the cloud that the shirt is gone.
Right, the cloud still thinks you have it.
Exactly. What happens if a customer on my website buys that exact same red T-shirt at 1:20 p.m.? Does the hybrid system just create a massive customer service disaster?
That is the classic distributed systems problem. It's called conflict resolution.
Okay, so how do they solve it?
Well, while the promotional material doesn't provide the exact back-end source code, hybrid systems like this typically handle that collision through time-stamped transaction queuing and safety stock buffers.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning the system assigns a hyper-specific timestamp to every single action.
So it knows exactly when everything happened.
Right. When the internet reconnects, the local register dumps its queue of offline sales into the cloud. The cloud server looks at the timestamps.
Ah, I see.
So if the physical store sold this shirt at 1:15 and the web store sold it at 1:20, the physical store wins the conflict because the timestamp is earlier.
And the online order.
It's automatically flagged for a refund or back order. But more practically, these systems allow merchants to set a digital safety buffer.
Like holding a few back?
Exactly. The system might be instructed to show an item as out of stock online when physical inventory drops below, say, 3 units.
Specifically to absorb those offline to online lag collisions.
Yes, that's exactly why they do it.
That makes a lot of sense. You build a cushion into the algorithm so the edge cases don't ruin the customer experience. It avoids the dreaded, wait, didn't we just sell that scenario?
Exactly. Saves the staff a lot of headaches.
But establishing a bulletproof offline capable database is really only half the battle. You still have to actually get your products into that database in the first place.
Which brings us to the mountain of boxes.
Yes, the data entry. Stocking the digital shelves is arguably the most soul-crushing hurdle for any new retail business.
It really is. It's a massive hidden tax on a business owner's time. Building a digital inventory from scratch requires typing out the product name, the brand, the category, the SKU.
The more code, the price.
Finding an image for thousands of individual items. It's endless.
Well, Possible claims to bypass this entirely with a 1 million-plus global catalog. They say they have preloaded product databases spanning fast-moving consumer goods, grocery, fashion, electronics.
It's a huge database.
The claim is that a store owner just scans a barcode and the system instantly populates everything. The name, the maximum retail price, the images, supposedly saving hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and to understand the mechanism here, you have to realize this isn't just a giant Excel spreadsheet shipped with the software.
It's not.
No, they've essentially built a centralized API and application programming interface of consumer goods.
Oh, okay. How does that work in practice?
When you scan a barcode of a new shampoo bottle, your local machine fires a request to Possible's central cloud database. It says, hey, I have barcode 12345. What is this?
And the cloud responds.
The central database locates the metadata for that shampoo, packages it up, and clones that data directly into your store's localized database in milliseconds.
Okay, but I have to push back on this reliance on a third-party universal database.
Oh, sure. What's your concern?
If I am building my entire business's inventory on someone else's centralized metadata, aren't I taking on a huge structural risk?
You mean if the API goes down?
Yeah, what if it goes down? Or, what if I want my own quirky, unique product descriptions to stand out online? Does the API just force my store to look exactly like the 1,000 other stores using the same generic software?
Well, you are identifying the inherent trade-off of democratization here. You trade granular control for extreme velocity.
Right. You get it fast, but it's generic.
It is a valid risk. However, you really have to look at the financial math driving this adoption. The platform provides specific impact metrics for their grocery and Kirana store solutions.
For those listening, a Kirana is a small, traditional neighborhood retail store in India.
Thank you, yes. So Possible claims that by utilizing this preloaded catalog, which automatically tags items with their typical perishable shelf life.
Wait, it knows the shelf life?
Yes. They claim stores are saving $5,000 a month simply by reducing inventory waste.
because the system automatically knows the expiry profile of the milk you just scanned and alerts you before it goes bad.
Exactly. When a system can automatically flag a batch of dairy products for a discount sale 3 days before they expire.
That's huge.
Specifically because the metadata was instantly standardized via that API, the business owner is looking at tangible revenue saved.
Right, the money speaks louder.
For a small operation running on razor-thin margins, preventing spoilage drastically outweighs the desire to write a bespoke, artisanal product description for a carton of milk.
I see the math there. The velocity and the analytics win out over the customization.
The standardized data is the fuel that powers the predictive analytics.
But managing a standard barcode for a carton of milk is pretty straightforward. Retail as a whole is incredibly diverse.
Oh, completely.
The software requirements for a grocery store are completely different from, say, a clothing boutique. What caught my eye in this architectural breakdown is how the software adapts to entirely different business models.
This is where we see the transition from a simple point-of-sale tool to a true retail OS.
I found myself thinking about it less like a cash register and more like a modern video game engine.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison, like Unreal Engine.
Exactly. Think about Unreal Engine. The underlying physics map how gravity works, how objects collide. It's exactly the same whether a developer is building a high-speed racing game or a fantasy role-playing game.
Right, the core mechanics don't change.
It's just the quote-unquote skin placed over those mechanics that changes. Or like a digital Swiss Army knife where the attachments physically morph based on who's holding it.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize CRM, customer relationship management architecture.
Because the documentation highlights this morphing capability across multiple verticals. If you apply the fashion and apparel skin, the system suddenly tracks size, color, and style matrices.
Right.
But then you apply the salon and spa skin, and it is no longer tracking boxes on a shelf. It's managing appointment blocks and automatically calculating tiered staff commissions.
And they have some impressive stats on that.
Yeah, they highlight a premium salon chain called Headmasters.Sin, which claims a 30% increase in repeat business and a 60% drop in no-shows using WhatsApp reminders.
That's a massive drop in no-shows.
And the Pet Store module actually tracks individual pet profiles, logging dog vaccination histories, and grooming preferences.
Right. To map that back to your video game engine analogy, the fundamental physics engine here is the relational database.
Okay, break that down.
A unit of inventory deducting from a total capacity is mathematically identical, whether it's a physical 5-pound bag of dog food leaving a shelf
or a 30-minute block of time leaving a stylist's calendar.
Precisely. The system's genius is in its user interface layer. It translates that core math into the language of the specific industry.
So a data field just gets a new name.
Yes. A general customer preference data field becomes a dog's vaccination record for the groomer, or a preferred hair color formula for the salon.
Think about the last time you ordered food from a local neighborhood spot on an app like Zomato or Swiggy.
Oh, I do that all the time.
You probably didn't realize that your order wasn't just printing on a paper ticket in the kitchen. If that quick service restaurant is running a system like Posible, your app order is directly interacting with this underlying OS.
Oh, it skips the front counter completely.
Yes, it is automatically deducting the raw ingredients from their virtual pantry, updating the kitchen display system for the line cooks, and calculating the processing time metrics.
Wow.
They cite a brand called Snackers, operating across 80-plus locations, claiming a 30% faster order processing time using this exact integration.
And that is the crucial leap. Capturing the data of a haircut appointment or a food order is only step one.
Right.
The platform's true ambition is what it does with that data next. This brings us to their assertion that, quote, the future of retail is intelligent, unquote.
Which introduces their automated communication layer.
Built right on top of this physical infrastructure.
Yeah, the marketing and AI ecosystem. They make a massive deal out of their integration with a platform called the WMART.NCPSS.
Let's decode that jargon for a second.
Please do.
CPIS stands for Communications Platform as a Service. What they're actually saying is that the cash register has the WhatsApp Business API, SS campaign managers, and interactive voice response calling.
Like phone tree menus.
Exactly. All built directly into its dashboard. And they heavily emphasize this comes at a Euro monthly rental, operating purely on a pay-as-you-go model for the messages sent.
Which is a highly aggressive pricing strategy that severely undercuts traditional tech stacks.
Very aggressive.
Normally, if a business wanted to set up automated WhatsApp reminders or an SMS loyalty campaign, they'd have to subscribe to a third-party CPaaS provider like Twilio, right?
And that means paying a base monthly subscription fee, hiring a developer to generate API keys, writing custom code.
Basically making the cash register talk to the messaging platform manually.
Exactly. By baking the CPaaS directly into the retail OS at a $0 base rental, Posible is eliminating both the subscription barrier and the engineering barrier.
They are essentially handing a local store owner an entire marketing department in a box.
That's a good way to put it.
But I have to stop you because there is one feature they promote that feels completely out of scope.
Oh, which one?
Alongside the automated WhatsApp messages, they advertise an Omniflow AI and a voice chat AI widget.
Ah, yes. The AI features.
They claim this AI can handle 247 customer queries on the store's e-commerce site, and it can do it in over 109 different languages.
It is a big claim.
Let's be real here. Does a local neighborhood pet groomer or a corner grocery store genuinely need a 109-language AI voice bot? Or is this just shiny object syndrome slapping the word AI on a brochure to sound futuristic?
Well, it absolutely sounds like overkill if you view the neighborhood store through a traditional hyperlocal lens.
Right, because my local grocer only speaks to people in my neighborhood.
True. But remember the core premise.
Yeah.
The saucification of the mom and pop.
Yeah.
Historically, only a massive multinational conglomerate had the capital to deploy conversational AI or run omnichannel multilingual support.
Yeah.
Posible is taking that exact same enterprise-level capability and dropping it into a dashboard that a local merchant can learn in an afternoon.
But practically, who is using that?
Consider the long-tail economic impact. Maybe the pet store owner doesn't need 109 languages to sell a bag of kibble to the guy down the street.
Probably not.
But what if that store starts designing custom leather dog collars and lists them on their built-in e-commerce site?
Okay, I'm following.
Suddenly, a customer in France or Japan finds the site. In the past, the language barrier and the customer service friction would have killed that sale immediately.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they'd never buy it.
Now that small local shop instantly possesses the multilingual customer service infrastructure to support international shipping, without ever needing to hire a global call center.
It flattens the resource gap between the local merchant and the global giant?
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. The tool isn't just about solving today's problem, it's about removing the ceiling on tomorrow's growth.
Removing the friction.
But expanding a local shop's reach globally with a built-in AI marketing department usually comes with an astronomical price tag.
Right, which brings us to the financials.
Yes, how they're actually monetizing this OS, their global ambitions, and to be perfectly honest, some incredibly glaring red flags in the promotional material itself.
Well, let's start by translating their financial terminology. They promote an enterprise features transparent TCO approach.
TCO stands for total cost of ownership.
Exactly. What they are signaling to potential buyers is, hey, we aren't going to hit you with hidden server maintenance fees or surprise API charges as your business scales.
And they break this down into 3 main tiers, billed annually. The growth plan is $7,999, which they frame as roughly $99 a year.
And what does that include?
That gets you the essential point of sale, the inventory management, and that 1 million product catalog API we discussed.
Very affordable.
Then the middle tier, professional, jumps to $14,999 or $179 a year. That unlocks the CRM engine, the SMS campaigns, and the staff commission tracking.
Okay.
Finally, the enterprise tier, which they push as the most popular, sits at $24,999 or about $299 a year. That is the tier that unlocks the own domain online store, the WhatsApp API, and the multilingual voice chat AI.
They also build in aggressive scaling incentives. They offer a 20% volume discount from the 4th business location onwards.
Pushing for franchises, clearly.
Yes. And they put a flag in the ground with a multi-location calculator, boldly stating that a business will save 50% utilizing their system compared to traditional enterprise POS solutions.
And they're clearly targeting a massive geographic footprint. The document emphasizes an India-first global ambition.
Right.
Like, while headquartered in India, they highlight active operations in Oman, Africa, Canada, and New Zealand, with the U.S. market listed as, quote, coming soon.
It paints a picture of a relentless, highly polished global juggernaut.
It does. And this is but as polished as this ambition sounds, we have to talk about the absolute chaos happening in the text of this source document.
Yes.
Because if you read the fine print, the marketing veneer totally cracks.
The artifacts of web design.
It is wild. In the opening summary, it proudly declares that Possible is trusted by 10,000 plus businesses. Literally a few paragraphs down, right next to a graphical icon, it says 12,290 plus businesses trust us.
A slight discrepancy there.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
In their primary statistics section, they guarantee a staggering, quote, 12% uptime.
12%.
Yes. And they proudly display a, quote, 0-star customer rating. 0 stars.
Wow.
Meanwhile, further down the page in the actual pricing breakdown, they promise a premium SLA guaranteeing 99.9% uptime.
It is genuinely hilarious to read a sophisticated pitch for an AI-driven global retail OS that is proudly advertising a 12% server uptime.
And 0 out of 5 stars from their customers. Like, who would buy that?
But beyond the humor, this is a phenomenal case study in information literacy for anyone evaluating enterprise software.
How so? I mean, it just looks like they were sloppy.
It is sloppy, yes. But it reveals the mechanism of how these platforms are sold. What you are looking at are placeholder variables in a staging environment.
Oh, like dummy text.
Exactly. The web developers built the layout architecture and inserted dummy text like 12% and duo stars and 1290, expecting the marketing team to link those fields to live, dynamically updating data before publishing the page to the public.
Oh, I see.
Someone skipped the final quality assurance check and just pushed the staging version directly to production.
So it's essentially a typo of the highest order, but doesn't that undermine their whole premise?
What do you mean?
Well, if they can't even ensure their own marketing brochure is accurate, how can a business trust them to manage every single cent of their revenue and their 109 language customer interactions?
That is exactly the critical thinking exercise a business owner must engage in. You have to separate the marketing wrapper from the structural engineering.
Okay, fair.
The typos prove that fallible humans are running the marketing department. But to evaluate the software, you have to look at the structural mechanics we've discussed.
The actual features.
Right. The hybrid offline sync architecture, the relational database logic of the CRM, the specific case studies of 80 location chains like Snackers relying on their kitchen displays. The engineering logic holds up, even if the proofreading completely failed.
That is a very pragmatic way to view it. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because the marketing team forgot to hit refresh on the template.
Exactly.
But it does bring me to my biggest structural concern with this entire concept. If we zoom out, Possible represents an incredibly ambitious ecosystem.
Highly ambitious.
By combining that offline hardware resilience, the massive preloaded catalog to eliminate data entry, and the deep integrations with WhatsApp and AI, it wants to be the invisible digital nervous system for everyday commerce.
And that matters to you, the listener, more than you might realize.
Right.
The baseline of everyday commerce is fundamentally shifting underneath us. The next time you buy a coffee, book a haircut, or schedule your dog for grooming,
You're probably interacting with one of these systems.
you are highly likely to be interacting with a centralized retail OS just like this one. It is dictating the speed of your transaction, the accuracy of the inventory you see online, and the level of personalization in the automated text message you get the very next day.
It is entirely rewriting our expectations as consumers.
Absolutely.
But I want to leave you with one final structural question to think about. We've talked about how this OS democratizes enterprise power, giving the local mom and pop shop the same tools as Walmart.
Yes, the flattening of the resource gap.
But if a platform successfully centralizes absolutely everything, if a single software company controls a store's physical checkout, its cloud inventory, its AI customer service, and its WhatsApp marketing channels.
I see where you're going with this.
What happens to that small business if that single point of failure changes the rules?
The vendor lock-in dilemma.
Exactly. What happens if 3 years from now, Possible decides the enterprise tier shouldn't be $299 a year, but $2,990 a year?
Oh, that would be devastating for a small shop.
Right. If the internet dropping was the old retail nightmare, the new nightmare might be losing access to your all-in-one platform because you can no longer afford the toll.
It's a very real risk.
So does democratizing enterprise tech ultimately set small businesses free to compete globally, or does it just trap them in a brand new, highly efficient form of total digital dependency?
It is the defining tension of the centralized cloud era, And there's simply no easy answer.
Something to mull over the next time you are standing in a long checkout line, watching a barista tap a screen, just hoping the system doesn't freeze. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.